With the first pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, the Dallas Wings select Paige Bueckers, University of Connecticut.
Did you hear the news? After getting drafted #1 overall by the Dallas Wings, Paige Bueckers has caused an uproar in the world of basketball. Yes, Paige Bueckers, the golden child of UConn, the next Caitlin Clark, and you get the picture. But now, she's in Texas, and the Wings are acting like they just won the Powerball and a trip to Disneyland at the same time. But that's not all. Paige has also signed a historic deal with Unrivaled, and honestly, this changes everything.
Paige Bueckers going to the next level.
By the way, Greeny, you were correct. It is going to be a New Jersey for Paige.
A New Jersey.
Right? Very
correct.
likely going to be a Dallas Wings jersey for
Right.
Paige. What are the expectations? Honestly, she fits in effortlessly. If you think about a puzzle, the final piece that just clicks in, and it's like, oh, that's like glue, that's great. I have a masterpiece. That is what Paige was able to accomplish in college.
Dallas Wings general manager Curt Miller apparently woke up on draft day and said it felt like Christmas morning. I mean, the man was practically skipping down the hall with a coffee in hand and visions of championship banners dancing in his head. Honestly, if someone had handed him a Paige Bueckers action figure that morning, he might have cried. But there are a lot of questions. Can Paige overshadow the Caitlin Clark effect? And why exactly are people using Paige to throw shade at Caitlin Clark?
And she is officially the #1 pick of the 2025 WNBA draft.
And you saw her give Coach Auriemma a hug. And at the beginning of this season, Gino Auriemma said Paige Bueckers was the most unguardable player in America. Why is that? Well, she can drain shots from deep. She can get to any spot on the floor where she wants to go. And she has been one of the most efficient players we have seen in the history of women's college basketball over the course of her career.
The Wings had their eyes locked on her ever since they had won the lottery. And as soon as that #1 pick was theirs, Paige was already packing her bags for Dallas. No shade to the other prospects, but it was always going to be Paige. It's like showing up to prom and pretending like you didn't already know who prom queen was going to be. Spoiler alert, it was Paige.
Okay, so obviously, as we know, Paige Bueckers drafted as the #1 overall pick to the Dallas Wings. Nobody's surprised, but I did hear Shanae Ogwumike, who was also drafted #1 overall. She talked about the fact that even though everybody around her was talking about the fact that she was going to get drafted #1 overall, she still didn't know she was going to get drafted #1 overall.
While the rest of the people knew Paige was going to end up as the overall first draft, she herself had some reservations. But all of that went away the minute her name was announced from the podium. Now let's talk about why this is a historic moment. Paige Bueckers is the 6th UConn player to go #1 overall. That's right, UConn has been pumping out WNBA queens like it's a factory line, and Paige is the latest addition. She joins the likes of Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, Maya Moore, and Breanna Stewart. But the real question is, does Paige have what it takes to be the next Caitlin Clark?
He said this: Paige is also not in the same stratosphere as Caitlin Clark as a player. So now Paige Bueckers fans are going to be unhinged.
Let's be real, Paige Bueckers getting picked #1 overall is exciting. But here's the thing. As much hype as Paige is bringing into the league, we still have no clue how much of her college dominance is actually going to translate into WNBA greatness. That's the uncomfortable truth no one wants to say out loud. So while Paige has the potential to do great things, Caitlin has already done great things, so there's a big difference. And her achievements, they almost read like a WNBA Hall of Fame application.
Article, Caitlin Clark is a worldwide phenomenon whose playing style has drawn a level of hype that hasn't been seen in basketball in a decade. At least a decade, Mick. At least a decade.
Caitlin Clark has been the unrelenting force of nature who had taken women's basketball by storm. From the moment she stepped onto the court for the University of Iowa, Clark has been a record-breaking phenomenon. Her style of play, which includes long-range three-pointers, jaw-dropping assists, and an unparalleled competitive fire, has drawn comparisons to NBA greats like Steph Curry and Larry Bird. Clark's 2023 NCAA tournament performance, where she led Iowa to the championship game, solidified her as the face of women's basketball.
The Indiana Fever have their first playoff berth since 2016. 2 years ago, their home attendance was 1,800 fans. Their average this year, home attendance, is 17,000. That's almost 10 times. And, of course, the big difference is Caitlin Clark.
And look, No hate to Paige, she's got skills and her crossovers are smoother than butter. But if we're comparing impact, the standard isn't just good rookie season. The bar was raised sky high the moment Caitlin Clark stepped into the league and casually broke attendance records by existing. Caitlin's already selling out arenas and getting primetime coverage just by breathing. If Paige wants to catch up, she's not just chasing greatness, she's chasing someone who's already broken the game.
So an article has come out by The Guardian asking why hasn't Middle America given Paige Bueckers the Caitlin Clark? But then it starts getting dicey, stating that coming back from an ACL injury deserves a standing ovation, and yet Bueckers doesn't receive the same fawning attention from a large group of parts of white America as Clark, a player of similar skills.
That's right. Many of these so-called experts are pitting Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark against each other, as their political ambitions are trying to label it as some sort of racial thing. But as far as both of these athletes are concerned, it has no basis in reality.
First of all, not all fans of Caitlin Clark are white. This is so apparent as a member of social media who interacts with a lot of Caitlin Clark fans, and so many of them are not white. It's just insulting to assume that that's the case to the people that aren't white, to the Black Americans that do.
Let's be real. It's not just Middle America that supports Caitlin. She has fans everywhere and is not limited to one social group or age category. So whoever wrote this article, it's completely fabricated.
Love Caitlin Clark. He goes on to state that perhaps it's because, unlike Clark, Bueckers has always been outspoken on issues off the court, and if you aren't aware, she did make a speech after she won the 2021 ESPY Award, and she used her acceptance speech to celebrate and honor Black women in particular.
The light that I have now as a white woman who leads a Black-led sport and celebrated here, I want to show a light on Black.
And you know what? That's actually pretty cool. However, I think it's really discounted that Caitlin Clark, right before she entered the WNBA, did go on Saturday Night Live and did also recognize all of the amazing Black athletes that came before her.
That's correct. Similar to Paige Bueckers, Caitlin has also given her share of acknowledgement to the WNBA legends before her, who are mostly Black athletes. I mean, this is so stupid. Just look at the stats and the accomplishments. Also, remember the fact that Clark went to a smaller school without the army of All-Americans that UConn gets year after year. This is not to say that Bueckers isn't a great player. She is, but Clark is just better right now.
You got emotional there talking about your teammates. How has the Husky teammates and UConn just prepared you for this moment and this next chapter?
Yeah, they mean everything to me. All that they've helped me get through, all the ups and downs, the highs and lows. They've seen every side of me, and the love there is unconditional. So just forever grateful for them. I want to cherish that relationship for the rest of my life, and I wouldn't be here.
Of course, Paige had her humble moment as she acknowledged her teammates at UConn, saying that she was very grateful for all the support she had received. But now, she's gearing up for a professional league. And speaking of leagues, Paige also signed a 3-year deal with Unrivaled, which completely changes the game.
As before the draft, however, Bueckers agreed to a 3-year contract with the Unrivaled League. According to Yahoo Sports, she's set to make at least $350,000 during her first season at the Unrivaled League. $350,000 for one season, which is interesting.
That's right. Paige has already signed a contract with the Unrivaled League without playing a WNBA game. However, this decision has been met with skepticism among experts and fans alike. Many people are saying that Paige should have taken a rest after her recent championship win to recover and regain her health.
For the one, if she had come to me, which she wouldn't, and say, so what do you think about me joining Unrivaled? I would say, don't do it. Unless Unrivaled has some serious changes in mind, I would say don't do it. I've never seen so many injuries in my life. They were dropping like flies all over the place. Even before the season started, there were people who were already injured. We started to say, what is going on?
That's right. Unrivaled has had far too many injuries and not enough performances to justify its hype. And this is exactly why Caitlin Clark skipped this league despite receiving a $1 million deal. Many people are saying that Paige should have followed in the footsteps of Clark and backed down from this deal. Now, let's talk about what Bueckers' draft actually means for Dallas. This is their main character era, and they've finally got someone who can make a difference in their roster.
Well, it did not take long for the Dallas Wings to capitalize on the #1 overall draft pick status of Paige Bueckers, and of course, her coming to town to join.
But let's not forget that Caitlin Clark made history last year with logo threes, sassy post-game quotes, and enough TV ratings to make WNBA pass out from joy. Because Dallas hasn't forgotten that Clark is still the face of the WNBA.
They had already decided to move this game to the American Airlines Arena, but now they are featuring Caitlin Clark in a promo with Paige Bueckers for the American Airlines Center in the 17th game.
That's right. Dallas Wings are looking to capitalize on Clark's celebrity status and possibly their new star, Paige Bueckers. And this is precisely why their June 27th matchup against Indiana was moved from College Park Center, which seats 7,000 fans, to American Airlines Center, which has a capacity of 20,000 fans. This game pits the #1 first overall pick in 2024 against the #1 overall pick in 2025 and could be one of the WNBA's biggest ratings draws of the upcoming season.
Pass. I mean, seriously, just to tell you, the closed seats are $1,205 a piece for a regular season game against.
The dominance of Paige Bueckers at UConn under the legendary Gino Auriemma was something else as her accolades piled up even before she set foot on campus. That's right, she won several awards, including Gatorade National Player of the Year, Naismith Prep Player of the Year, and Morgan Wooten National Player of the Year. But in her last year, she exceeded all expectations and won the NCAA championship.
Paige balled out in the tournament, and before this national championship game, she had a 30-point game, a 40-point game, and then another 30-point game. And Paige ended off the game with 17 points in this national championship game, but she also landed third on most points in the NCAA tournament. So she ended with 477 points. Now, Caitlin Clark holds this record at 492 points in 17 games played.
That's right. While Paige won the championship, the most points record is held by Caitlin Clark. And now, the WNBA has another media darling on its hands. You can expect every interview and every courtside glance to be analyzed like it's the NBA playoffs. Fans will debate her hairstyle, her shoe choice, and the way she ties her headband. That's just the life of a #1 draft pick in the WNBA now.
Paige balled out in the tournament, and before this national championship game, she had a 30-point game, a 40-point game, and then another 30-point game. And Paige ended off the game with 17 points in this national championship game, but she also landed third on most points in the NCAA tournament. So she ended with 477 points. Now, Caitlin Clark holds this record at 492 points in 17 games played.
But not everything's sunshine and rainbows, because Paige's team has the ultimate party pooper called Dejanai Carrington. That's correct. The same Dejanai Carrington who was acting like Freddy Krueger last season and poking other people's eyes.
How about #1 to start with? She's not nearly the player that Caitlin Clark is. How about we start there? All right? But no, it's not just white America that is sick of activism in their sports. Latinos, Hispanics, Asians, blacks, that's right, Native Americans, many of them who are subscribed to both channels, by the way, with a combined.
That's correct. Remember when Dejanai poked Clark's eyes? It was nasty. And now, Paige gets to join the same locker room as the WNBA's unofficial eye poke queen. And you know there's going to be a vibe. Can you imagine the first practice? Paige is going up for a smooth jumper while Dejanai closes out like she's trying to perform LASIK surgery with her fingernails.
I love what Paige brings to the WNBA. First, she's an effortless scorer. And again, I say off ball because she does not need the ball in her hands to be effective. The defense gravitates to her, which means Arike is going to eat, which is what we've seen the last few years. She also has tremendous basketball IQ, assisting the ball. But most importantly, Paige Bueckers is a winner. She makes winning plays, and that's what Dallas needs the most.
Paige isn't your average baller. Her IQ is elite, and she has the ability to control the floor with vision and poise. Not only that, she makes defenders look foolish and turns highlight reels into mixtapes. And here's where it gets real. The WNBA needed this. It needed another megastar to keep the momentum going, which Caitlin had started last year. And now, Paige brings exactly that. She's the missing piece in this post-Clark season, and Dallas just hit the jackpot. Paige Bueckers going #1 isn't just a draft pick. It's a cultural reset, a shot of adrenaline straight into the WNBA's marketing veins. And while other teams may act unbothered on the surface, deep down, they're sweating. Because once Paige starts dropping 20 points a night, they're gonna flip out. So what do you think? Does Paige deserve all the hype? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.